name is Fire Socks. I am currently doing the flip-flop of the Appalachian Trail, which means I started at Harpers Ferry, I went north, then went back to Harpers Ferry, and I'm currently working my way south.
Cool, cool. All right, and how did you get your trail name? What does that mean?
Someone caught my socks on fire. So I did a section through Shenandoah last year, and there happened to be some southbounders at the shelter when I was there. It had rained the day before and my socks were wet, so I set them down low to dry near the fire.
Like you do.
Like you do. And someone decided they wanted to sit on that rock versus on the picnic table, which was also right next to the fire. And they moved the socks, and wool goes up in flame pretty quickly. So they said it should be Fire Socks, and it just kind of stuck. And I kept it for this year when I'm actually doing my own through hike.
Right on. Right on. So this is your first through hike?
Yes.
Yes. And how long have you been hiking? How many times have you hiked the trail?
I started May 1st. And I honestly don't know what mile I'm at. I'm just kind of walking south until I hit Springer, and that's when I'm going to stop. It was kind of more spur of the moment for me. I had done a couple sections last year and I really liked it. And then this year was just kind of like a combination of life events, like not really being sure what I wanted to do with like my career, my personal life. My dad had gotten sick earlier in the year, and it just kind of like it was a life is short, go out there and have fun, do what you want to do. And it just seemed like the perfect way to do it, to kind of just do like a life restart, get out of there, get away from everything, and just hang out in the woods for a while. So
do you do mostly solo hiking, or do you tend to travel with a group?
I'm definitely the solo person. I kind of like, I started by myself, and then had a group for like the beginning that I kind of hiked around, but when it started to turn into a hiking together thing, I definitely enjoy like the solitude. That's what I'm out here for. So you run into so many people. It's been weird on the southbound right now. There haven't been as many people around, but going north, like there would always be people that you would hike with / around, but during the day I prefer just walking by myself. So.
Do you have any security concerns as a woman alone? No.
I get asked that all the time. Pretty much every time I'm in town, every time I hitchhike, always get asked that question. And it's honestly like, I've not once felt uncomfortable or worried. And you get a read on people pretty quickly, and you learn like, I don't know, what your comfort levels are, and just, it's the clustering of just like the nicest people out on the trail. Like everyone's nice, everyone wants to help each other. You're never really alone. And I've never felt like unsafe or uncomfortable. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I imagine you've met some interesting characters during your travels here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the most interesting hiker that you've met? Or it doesn't have to be a hiker, just the most interesting character you've met during your hike.
Trying to think. It's never, like, everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. So there's been some interesting people. So I only met him once, but there's a guy named Potato who was hiking in a dress. He found it in a hiker box in Virginia and then put it on, and it was comfortable, and so he hiked in it. And I actually saw his finished picture, and he finished in it. I saw a water moccasin the other day, which was pretty exciting, and it was like the day after. So when you go north, you only have to worry about like the poisonous snakes that are out there are the rattlesnakes and the copperheads. Mm-hmm. But then when you start going south, when you're in the Virginia area, it adds water moccasins to the mix. And it was kind of fun because I literally just Googled them so I would know what they looked like. And then the next day I was sitting at a stream and saw one. And that was actually kind of cool. And it was nice because I was far enough away. I'd already gotten my water and I was just sitting and drinking that I could like just watch him like kind of do his little thing over the rocks, which was neat. I saw 2 copperheads up in New York State, and then that one was good because someone had labeled them. A guy named Gator had left out a piece of paper that just said like 2 huge copperheads ahead. And it was neat because like everyone you talked to the next couple days saw the same snakes in the same spot, and they were just like labeled, so it was kind of convenient. So you can see a poisonous snake from a distance and know that it's coming, so it doesn't like jump out at you.
It's like a wildlife.
Yeah, it's like a zoo without the cages and that level of security. And then bears. So, right, started at Harpers Ferry. The first bear that I saw was at a shelter called Wildcat, and I think it was in New York State. And I remember it because it was like there was the first time that I caught up with, there was a little bit of a flip-flop bubble ahead of me. And I remember it was a crowded shelter, so I was tenting, and I remember I was sitting on this like slight hill talking with a friend, and we heard this guy saying, "Go Bear." And we thought, and he was just kind of like saying it, he was just saying, "Go Bear." And we looked over and we knew it was a guy with a dog, so we just thought that that was the name of his dog because he was just saying, "Go Bear," super casual. And we actually had a conversation about like how that's a bad thing to name your dog when you're hanging out in the woods. And then he kept saying it and then started like clacking things. We realized that there was actually a bear. So it was just fun because it involved everyone kind of playing tourist because it was a group of flip-floppers. We'd all just started. It was everyone's first bear. So people grabbed like their cameras and then like their pots or like their trekking poles to like make noise as we're trying to scare this bear away because it was like over near the privy. And it was actually like not afraid of us at all. And it was a big guy and he just kind of like casually just walked away. But it was just kind of fun because there was like 15 of us standing there like trying to take pictures but also trying to like make it leave. So that was the first one. But then a couple days later I was walking down the trail by myself early in the morning and looked up and there was a bear directly in front of me. And your heart kind of like stops a little bit at first because it's the first bear encounter, you don't really know. And I started like slowly backing up and then it looked up and saw me, and it was just great because it took off running. I hadn't even realized that there was another bear with him, and that guy took off down the hill, like not graceful at all. And like they weren't huge bears, they were like mid-sized, but it was just great that they just sprinted away from me. So then you turn into your heart's fumbling because you're trying to get your camera out so you can take a picture before they're gone. But then since then I think I've probably seen like 5 bears total, and it's the same situation where they run away from you. So it's no longer a scary concept to see a bear. It's been kind of fun to spot them before they take off sprinting away from you.
I mean, but they're huge though, and
that's like the main reason the heart just kind of stops at first. But then to see something that big take off running because it is petrified, you're just kind of like, all right, I'm the scary one in this situation, and that's okay.
Well, have you had any injuries or close calls?
I twisted my ankle outside of Monson, which is right before the 100-mile wilderness before Katahdin. And then that just kind of felt silly because that is like the flattest stretch of Maine. At least I've heard at the end of the 100-mile wilderness there's a nicer stretch. But that is of course where I hurt myself. And then I spent a couple days off at Shaw's. And then I still have to do the last 116, and I'm actually headed up there to do it soon, tomorrow actually. So yeah, so I had that, and I was off for probably like a week and a half, and just went home instead because I'm from Maryland, and then started my flops south after that. But other than that, no.
Is mileage a big deal to you? I mean, do you like push for miles, or are you more of a chill hiker?
I am definitely more of a chill hiker. I do not really push for miles at all. Probably because I did start in the middle, and it's an easy place to start. It's a way to definitely like build everything up. But I'm trying to just have fun. Like there's definitely been days where I'm trying to push it to get somewhere, and it's not that that's not fun, but I kind of like don't like the idea of the deadlines. I don't really want to go back to work when this is done. Like that's something that's hard to think about. So every time like you go really far, I'm like, you're getting closer to when you're gonna have to like go back and get a real job and like sit at a desk all day.